Hey everybody, this is Reapy Ron, and today we're going to be doing another one of Ron's Reviews. This is going to be on a little movie called Dog Soldiers, and I actually have the thing here. Yeah, imagine that. Oh, you can't see that. There you go. Now, as you can see, I actually own this, which means one of two things. Either I got this as a gift and didn't want it, or I bought it and liked the movie. I bought it and liked the movie. I'm just going to spoil that right out now. I bought this and just loved it. It is technically a foreign film, although it is spoken all in English. It was actually filmed in Luxembourg, and it's supposed to take place in Scotland. So, you know, all the characters have Scottish and British accents. So, you know, you still kind of have to get used to that if you're not already used to that. But it is all in English, so you know us dumb Americans can watch it too. You know what I mean? Anyway, this movie came out in 2002. The whole movie follows a band of soldiers that they are pretty much doing training exercises, war games kind of, against another squad in the woods. Then they find the other squad, and the other squad's just been slaughtered. And, you know, they're just freaking out, wondering what the heck is going on here. So then they end up getting, they hold up at a farmhouse, and it turns out there's werewolves just trying to stalk them and kill them and eat them, you know. So, you know, it's a pretty basic premise. It's a survival movie. And that's perfectly fine. You know, it doesn't need to be complex or anything, because I like this movie, and it's, we're here. Here's a bad situation. We got to survive it. You know what I mean? That's pretty much the whole movie in a nutshell as far as just the story goes. But that doesn't mean it can't be enjoyable, because this one surely is. Anyway, it was directed by Neil Marshall, who is probably his most known movie. Actually, another one right over here. I don't know why I didn't grab it. Where the heck is it? There it is. Sorry. I should be more professional about this. This is the 20th video of these I've done. He's actually done The Descent, and a lot of people know The Descent. So that's another great movie too. He's done other movies like Doomsday and stuff like that didn't get as much praise or anything. Most of the other ones he did were at least decent. You know what I mean? There wasn't a whole lot of bombs. They were just mostly decent or good ones like these two. So that's pretty cool. It also stars Sean. I'm probably going to say this last name wrong. Pertwee. I think that's how you say his name. I don't know. It's on the cover here. You guys probably can't see it because there's a glare. Yeah. Anyway, he's been in Event Horizon, and he's in Gotham as Alfred. There's Kevin McKidd in here, who was in Trainspotting and is most known for Grey's Anatomy. He's one of the doctors on that. There's also Liam Cunningham, who's in Game of Thrones. I can't remember what his name is. He's like the weird guy. I know there's a lot of them, but he's the weird immortal warrior type of guy or something like that. I don't know. The Hound slashes him, like puts a sword through him, and then it heals up really quick or something like that. That guy. I can't remember his freaking name though. I can't remember anybody's name from Game of Thrones. He was also in Clash of the Titans. So, if anybody's seen that. Anyway, let's get on to the parental guide. The parental guide pretty much follows the IMDb parental guide for those who aren't aware. It falls into 5 categories. Each category can score 1 through 10, meaning if it has 10, it has a lot of that in it. If it has 1, that means it has a lot or very little of that in it. So the 5 categories are sex and nudity, violence and gore, profanity, drug use and alcohol, and then frightening and intense scenes. So first up is sex and nudity. This movie really doesn't have any in it. I'm going to say it's a 2 out of 10 because there is, I believe, a somewhat sex scene at the very, very start of the movie, but it's like you're the victim at the very, very start of the horror movie, you know what I mean? And it's very short and it's very minimum, and that's the only time that there's any sort of sex or even sex references throughout the whole movie, I believe. I'm not entirely sure about that. Don't quote me on that. But then we go to violence and gore. Now, this is going to be a 10 out of 10 in violence and gore. The werewolves are absolutely brutal, and I love that about this. They are killing machines. You know what I mean? They just want to rip you apart, kill you as effectively and fast as possible. And, slicing somebody in half can kind of do that. You know what I mean? Ripping out somebody's throat, tearing somebody's face off, slashing somebody's intestines out. There's a lot of violence and gore in this one, and I love it. Then we got profanity. Profanity in this one, I'm going to say is a 9 out of 10. I base that on absolutely nothing because they pretty much swear a lot through it, and I'm not exactly sure how to rate profanity. So, take what you will. They say the F word a lot, if that helps you at all. Then in drugs and alcohol, I'm going to say this is a 1 out of 10. There is some drinking, I think midway through it, but it's very, very minimal. There's no excessive drinking, no drugs in it. There might be like a smoke or something in it, but nothing, there's no hard drugs or anything like that. And then frightening and intense. This one is pretty frightening and intense all throughout, mostly intense. For somebody who was younger watching it, it'd probably be pretty frightening too. I'm going to say this is 10 out of 10 because it does have a few jump scares in it. Not very many, though. I think there's like maybe 2, and it actually does them well. Because usually I don't like jump scares where it's just kind of like building up. The jump scare's going to come and it's going to startle you, but you just don't know when, and then it just gets kind of annoying if it keeps doing that to where it's just like, okay, wow, that's like the 20th one in a row. If, a sudden jolt of, a sudden image and then a jolt of music isn't going to freak you out. It's going to startle you, But that being said, I don't think there's any like slow moments to where it's like, is it going to be a jump scare? Because the first one I can think of, this is a minor spoiler, it's in the camp when they're just sitting there talking, stuff like that, and then just like a ripped up animal just flies through the campsite, and there was no build up, there was no music, there was nothing. It was just these guys talking back and forth, sharing stories and whatnot, and then just boom, is like there wasn't even like a sound effect besides the the body hitting the ground. That's all you heard. People were just talking in the middle of a sentence, just what the heck was that? Like that was an effective jump scare because you didn't see it coming. It wasn't like oh I'm gonna go around the corner, oh there's something scary around the corner, or there's nothing around the corner, I turn around and then there's something scary over here. You know what I mean? It wasn't like that. It was just, holy crap, something just happened, and it was, offsetting. When the werewolves are ripping through, I guess that could be somewhat considered jumpy, simply because, they just show up and just start attacking like you would imagine werewolves would. So that was pretty cool. Anyway, on to the pros and the cons. The pros of this movie is that it's very fast-paced. I don't think it's very long either. Let me check real quick. I can't see any numbers. Why don't I see numbers? Crap. Oh, approximately 105 minutes. So it's only about an hour and a half long. A little bit long. Hour and 45 minutes. So it's not really that long. Actually, it's longer than I thought it was. I actually thought it was like 90 minutes or just a bit shorter than that. But it is fast-paced all the way throughout, so you won't get bored. The most you're going to get any boring parts are pretty much towards the very start, when not a lot is happening. It's just the soldiers kind of talking to each other, just kind of, building it up. You get a little bit of backstory on some of the soldiers, see what's happening. And then, it's like the werewolves come, and that, maybe the talking is for the first, 20 minutes or something like that. And then after that, it's just like, here's all the werewolves. Here's what you wanted to see, It's like, we're not gonna pad this out to be an hour long of talking and then show 15 minutes of werewolves and that's it. It's like the opposite. We're gonna show werewolves for this whole thing, and then put a little bit of backstory, a little bit of character development at the very start, which I think is the correct way to do it anyway. It was very fun to watch. If you love action movies, if you love horror movies, you're going to like this. It really reminds me of, I was reading something, somebody said that it reminded them similar of like a mix between Predator and like either the Evil Dead series or the American Werewolf in London series. And I was like, yeah, that actually makes sense, because it's got like all the action tropes like Predator did, where it does still have Predator still has a little bit of horror to it, but it's mostly an action movie. It's mostly a really fun action movie to watch. Where Evil Dead, it's still got action parts in it, but it's mostly still a horror movie. You know what I mean? At least for like the first two. So that, I could kind of see that, where this one's more towards the Evil Dead side though, where it's still got action scenes, still got a lot of action scenes in it actually, but it's still mostly a horror movie. So if you like horror, if you like action, you'll probably like this, because I like both and I really like this. There was a lot of gore in it, and that was really cool to see. I was hoping that it wasn't just going to be, because I didn't know how much, I really didn't know anything about this movie when I first saw it. I figured, it was like a B movie that probably doesn't have the biggest budget. They're probably going to have to rely on hiding some things, and it'll probably just be a decent movie. Well, even though it probably is more along the lines of a B movie, I'm not really sure about that as far as budget goes. It might not be, because they have like decent actors and a good director and everything to it. So, but I think this was like before The Descent, so he did it like right before that. Anyway, it was just set up like that, and I was just thinking, okay, they're gonna mostly rely on this, and it was like, no, they spent like all the budget on the special effects, and it really paid off. You know what I mean? It was like, okay, we got some B actors in here, all of them can act, and we got a good director. He wasn't really known at that time, but we got a B director, a pretty good B director, some good B rated actors, and all of them turned out really good as well. Everybody's got to start somewhere, and you're going to climb eventually, you know what I mean? But yeah, it just, it was like, hey, we got, the budget for this, and we got the, the location. All we need, the location was fairly minimal too, since it was, in the woods. You don't really have to pay for walking through the woods usually. And then, renting out a large farmhouse probably wouldn't cost a whole lot either, I imagine. But then it was just like, okay, after we've got all that here, here's all the money we got. All that's going into special effects. That's where all that cash is going, and it really paid off, because the werewolves look amazing. I mean, you saw the pictures early on when I put them up. The werewolves look awesome. They look like what you would want werewolves to look like. They got, kind of like the bulky upper part of a wolf, but then they still got like the sleek, the sleek, more or less lower body and like arms and stuff of that of a wolf, but they still look like really ferocious. They look like they would be like stealthy killers, or even if that didn't work out like it does later in the movie when they're barricaded, they've got enough brute force just to rip apart everything in their way. So that was pretty cool. It does still have some of the werewolf lore in it too, which was kind of cool. Getting bit by a werewolf turns you into a werewolf eventually. But usually they don't even care about, the werewolves usually don't just try to bite you and do that. They usually try to like rip you apart and eat you. So, there's not a whole, I think there's like 5 or 6 werewolves in this. Maybe there's more. I think there's actually more now that I think about it. Anyway, they got that. Silver still hurts them quite a bit. Bullets hurt them. You don't even need silver bullets, just bullets. It's like they're really tough, but they'll go down if you put enough lead in them. You know what I mean? And then the cons to this one, they're almost more nitpicky than anything, because I didn't really have a whole lot of cons with this. Some of them were like, the girl is, pretty obviously a werewolf even early on. That's not really that much of a plot twist, though, since you kind of already figured that out like 15 minutes after meeting her. So, again, a spoiler, but you probably spoiled it yourself if you watched any part of the movie. And even that, it really doesn't spoil the movie at all, because you really were just, if you're going to watch this, you're going to be like, I want to see a really cool werewolf movie. I want to see a cool action-packed werewolf movie. And oh, wow, somebody else is also a werewolf? Cool. We'll kill them too. You know what I mean? The other cons, some, well, for me and for, again, other dumb Americans, are going to be, it's somewhat hard to understand certain slang terms in other English-speaking countries, like in Scotland and in Britain. Obviously, I don't understand all the terminology from there because I'm not from there. But again, that's more nitpicky than anything. I get the gist of what they're saying. You know what I mean? It's not. I don't have to look up every single word that they're saying. It's not like Old English where I'm just like, oh, what? Anyway, that's my thoughts on the movie. It was really fun. I really like it. I bought it. I should really watch it again because I haven't watched it in, I don't know, at least like 2 years or so. I still remember quite a lot about it, which is, honestly amazing because I think I've only seen this like twice. So, it's got staying potential. And obviously I own it since, I'll own anything that I watched and loved to watch. I'll try to find this. It's probably on like IMDb, or not on IMDb. I know it's on IMDb, but what isn't? It's probably on like Netflix or Amazon or something like that. I'll try to find something there. Hopefully that's like the Amazon Prime or the just Netflix that you guys can go and watch for free. Because, I know not everybody's going to love this like I did. But I imagine a large proportion of you are going to watch this and love it if you've seen it. So anyway, my overall rating of Dog Soldiers is an 8 out of 10. It's a solid horror movie. It's a solid action movie. It's got some problems in it for nitpicking, but who cares? It's fun. I'll watch it again and again and again, So that's pretty much all I have to say about it. Apparently there's also a second Dog Soldiers, but I haven't seen it. So I can't really comment about it. I don't really know what it's about or if it's any good. Anyway, tell me what you thought about Dog Soldiers if you've seen it, or if you're gonna see it. Put something down in the comments. I was gonna say description. Don't write in the description. That's my job, and I screw that up all the time anyway. And I cannot get my hair to sit where I want it to. Anyway. That's the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have been having a good day, keep on having a good day. If you guys have been having a bad day, I hope this video made your day just a little bit better. I hope to see all of you guys next time. Until then, stay cool and bye.